a family-owned and operated restaurant here in the usually foggy neighborhood of San Francisco, the Richmond district. My name is Julio Bermejo. I'm the beverage manager. This is my mom, the owner, Senora Elmi Bermejo. And my mom, along with my dad, in 1965 opened up Tommy's. And all of my brothers and sisters and myself grew up working here, whether it was cleaning tables or greeting guests. Today, Tommy's is a legacy business in San Francisco that also has a global footprint. Now, we continue to espouse the motto of not just closing a sale, but opening up a relationship. And the pandemic has hit us all very hard, and it's particularly hit the bar and restaurant community very hard. But we are so grateful that through some regulatory changes, a place like Tommy's is allowed to now sell our world-famous Tommy's Margarita to go. And we welcome the governor in making further announcements. Welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jot Condi. I'm the president and CEO of the California Restaurant Association. Before the pandemic, California's restaurants were the #1 generator of sales tax revenue for the state of California and our local governments. 60% of California's restaurants are owned by people of color. So, when you look at the sales tax revenue that this industry generated prior to the pandemic, it underscores not only the important role that our industry plays in the fabric of every community, but the role it plays in all economies, local and statewide. Throughout the pandemic and through the twists and turns, I have to thank the governor for and his administration through the various departments and agencies, ABC, Director Eric Harada, who've worked tirelessly to help small businesses and restaurants weather the storm through many executive orders and efforts to give the industry assistance. And if you look at what was going on in every city, what's happening here are these parklets. The mayors played a major role in assisting restaurants weather this storm. And in the category of mayors in California, one of the leaders that worked closely with the restaurant community in San Francisco and with the Golden Gate Restaurant Association is Mayor London Breed, who I would like to introduce and ask her to come up. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, moms.
Hello.
It's so great. Yes, it's great to be here at Tommy's. You know what I like about this restaurant is the lollipops that they give to the kids. This is a family restaurant. It is an institution here in this community. So many generations of kids have grown up in what we used to call the avenues, where you would come here, you would hang out, and you would always be welcome. And what's important as we went through this pandemic is that we continue to support restaurants like Tommy's. We continue to make sure that our restaurants stay open, that they thrive. These shared spaces, which used to be called parklets at one point, which were very difficult to open before the pandemic, during this pandemic, they have opened all over the city, and they've made the city just a little bit brighter and more fun. And in fact, because of the pandemic, it was very difficult for restaurants to open in the first place. And so what the governor is proposing, which is very, very exciting, is to extend ABC's regulations that would allow for them to continue to not only serve out in these parklets, but also when you use these various apps for delivery, or if you pick up to go, you can finally get alcohol beverages in those nice little cute containers to take them with you. A lot of this has helped many of the restaurants in this city survive. I, for one, thought about so many of my favorite restaurants in San Francisco. And part of the challenge of getting what you want from your restaurant sometimes includes, yes, a burrito or enchiladas and a margarita, a really good margarita, by the way, at Tommy's. And sometimes you just want that, and you may not be able to make it yourself. But these restaurants, they have the ability. They have the chefs. They have the different people. This employs people. It keeps people working, and it makes San Francisco more vibrant. This is just another thing of support, another thing that supports our efforts. And in fact, San Francisco, between the support that we've gotten from the federal government as well as our governor from the state, we've been able to invest almost $1 billion to support our small businesses to help keep them open with the various programs to provide food and resources. Governor, what's that program that you announced, the program that gives money? Great Plates?
Great Plates.
Thank you. Great Plates, which paid restaurants to help deliver meals, to provide support. Many of the local restaurants in San Francisco got access to that resource. So many amazing things. This is just another tool that we all need to continue these incredible efforts to keep places like Tommy's and some of the other great restaurants open in San Francisco and throughout the state of California. I, for one, am excited, especially because soon we're not going to have to wear our mask anymore. Even though we want to make sure you're getting vaccinated, and Governor, you'd be proud of San Francisco because about 80% of the people in San Francisco have at least received their first dose of the vaccine. That has been absolutely amazing. So we're well on our way to a full recovery, but we can't recover while leaving our various restaurants and businesses behind. We want to continue this amazing program, this amazing resource that will make sure that places like Tommy's are here for generations to come. And with that, to talk about the specifics of what he's doing, not just with this extension of the emergency order, but just so many great things for small businesses in California. We appreciate the work that the governor is doing, and we're looking forward to seeing even more policy changes and even more investments to make sure that the small businesses of the governor's hometown and all throughout the state of California survive this really challenging time. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our governor, Gavin Newsom.
By the way, when did the avenues not become the avenues? You guys changed that?
This is like the Richmond now.
It's the Richmond. All right, it's always been the Richmond.
But it's the avenue.
All right. No, I'm just, I haven't been here in a little while. Great to be here with you, Mayor, and thank you for all of the incredible work you're doing. Thank you for the vaccination efforts. You've been a leader in our vaccination efforts here in the state of California. California, as a consequence, has been a leader in this nation and around the rest of the world. There are just 7 jurisdictions in the world, 7 other countries in the world that have higher vaccination administration rates. We in California just passed, along with 11 other states, 70% of all adults receiving at least 1 dose of vaccines now at the place that President Biden hopes to get the rest of the country by July 4th. We recognize our responsibility to do more and better. A week ago, we announced incentives, cash prizes. Tomorrow, we'll be pulling 15 names, $50,000 cash prizes for individuals, doing the same a week later. Encouraging everybody to go out, if they haven't been vaccinated, to get vaccinated so they're eligible for those prizes, eligible for these incentives. We're mindful that because of the success of our efforts, that this last group of folks that may be on the, just a little hesitant, may not be convinced of the importance of the vaccine, that we're going to have a lot of work to do. It's going to be stubborn. And so these incentives are about iteration, it's about trying new things, and we're going to continue to raise awareness. And I think tomorrow will go a long way to raising awareness around this incentive program, since not everybody I talk to is even aware that the state is doing incentives. And so that's a big part of our work in front of us and the work that the country's doing. You saw the president today announcing his nationwide efforts, and they're expanding incentives, shots for shops, and shops and shops, every conceivable thing from beer, incentives, localized incentives, restaurants large and small, all part and parcel of our effort to get to where we all want to go, particularly here in California, and that's to a world without a blueprint, moving beyond that blueprint in just a couple weeks on June 15th. We're here, though, recognizing that as we move beyond the blueprint, as we reopen the economy fully, though the vast majority of the economy is operating in the least restrictive tiers in the state of California, as we move to that final stage on June 15th, we're mindful of what we've been saying for many, many months. We don't want to go back to normal. Normal was never good enough. And I think one of those areas of opportunity is what brings us here today. The mayor and I have had a lot of conversations about this. I mean, dozen conversations about the success of these parklets and how it's enlivened our streets, how it not only saved restaurants and bars through this pandemic, kept people employed through this pandemic, but how it's revitalized neighborhoods in many respects, and about how it advanced the entrepreneurial spirit. And we want to keep that going. And for years and years and years, I was mayor at the time, many years ago, these were hard things to get permitted in this city, almost impossible. And if you did get them permitted, with respect, director, you didn't always have an ABC that, picked up the phone, or dare I say even gave a damn. I say that with love and respect. It was frustrating. And so we're trying to connect those dots, and we're trying to take something that really seemed to work in this pandemic and to allow the flexibility. We're not mandating anything, but allowing the flexibility for cities large and small in this state, including San Francisco, to consider the opportunity to continue to allow these parklets and these opportunities to have outdoor dining, al fresco dining, to see them continue, and to allow these businesses to expand their footprint and expand their opportunity to recover from this pandemic, and moreover, to create new business opportunities in the future. And so this is an opportunity for the entire state. We're seeing cities not dissimilar to San Francisco and San Diego that are promoting their outdoor dining in more progressive ways. San Jose just announced their efforts recently. Long Beach has got some innovative strategies. Sacramento, I'm getting calls from mayors all over the state saying we want to see these things be made permanent. And I say be made because we're not naive about local zoning. We're not naive about local planning. I was a former mayor. Localism, I say often, is determinative. The mayor and the planning department, working with county supervisors, working with local zoning, will figure out the permanency of these things. But we want to get the state out of the way. We want to make this as of right from the state's perspective. And so we've got a number of pieces of legislation that is going through the California legislature. Some of that won't happen soon enough, so we want to make sure there are no gaps. And that's why we're going to extend these orders that we put into place going back to March of last year. There were 7 specific regulatory relief efforts that the ABC advanced. 2 of them we are going to extend through the rest of the calendar year. That will allow the legislature, working with the ABC, working with Jacques Conde, who's been doing a magnificent job on behalf of restaurants for decades, but notably in the last year. And where'd your daughter go? She just right when I was about to introduce her.
She's in there looking for food.
All right, but who's also a wonderful father. But want to provide that opportunity in that window to be able to negotiate the finer points so we can see that we can extend this beyond the calendar year. So this will allow folks to continue to get the takeout. If you do takeout food, you'll be able to get the takeout cocktails. This will allow the opportunity to provide more certainty in terms of the extended footprint and the ability to allow operations, including the ABC certifying the extended permits for these outdoor dining spaces and parks, parklets, parking lots all throughout the state of California. So I'm very excited about this, and I think this is a good thing for our economic recovery. It's also a good thing for our public health, because we want to encourage more people still to be outside. This pandemic's not behind us. This pandemic is not extinguished. We still have an enormous amount of work to do. We're mindful of these variants. We're mindful of the fact that not all parts of the country are like the state of California or even San Francisco as it relates to vaccination rates, and that as we enter into the hotter summer months, more people going inside looking for air conditioning. Some of those issues may bring these issues of COVID spread back in the forefront of our consciousness. So we want to encourage these outdoor seating opportunities, encourage healthy choices, and obviously economic opportunities. Final 2 points. This is part and parcel, and the mayor opened this door, and I appreciate that. Part and parcel of a series of efforts and initiatives the state has taken, including doing direct relief grants of up to $25,000 for bars and restaurants. $25,000 grants, not loans. We extended that program. It's now, I believe, close to $4 billion. We did hundreds of millions of dollars in tax relief and tax abatement, including not having to pay for the alcohol beverage control license for at least 2 years, which my recollection, the last I checked, was over $1,200 for some licensees. So not insignificant. Sales tax relief, other payroll tax relief, hiring tax credits. We encourage folks to learn about all these tax credits, $1,000 hiring tax credits through the Main Street Hiring Tax Credit Program. Go to covid19.ca.gov, covid19.ca.gov to learn about all these programs. It's still remarkable to me how many people are eligible but still not taking advantage of these direct relief programs. In addition to that, I also want to remind people that we have billions of dollars we've set aside to take care of your utilities and to take care of your rent. Have you been directly impacted by COVID-19? The state of California is proposing in our new budget to take care of 100% of your rent, your back rent, going back into the previous year and helping you moving forward, 100%. Again, it's remarkable to me how many people, A, don't believe it or haven't availed themselves to that opportunity. There's 72,000 people in the state have gotten applications in and approved on this program. So we've got to remind people of these opportunities. Incentives for vaccines, if you haven't taken them, direct $50 gift cards, opportunities to be in this cash/lottery. It's not a lottery legally or technically, but it acts as if it's a lottery, which we'll be doing tomorrow on the 11th and on June 15th to make sure that businesses large and small are taking advantage of these grant programs, applying for them, tax credit programs, getting more information on that, and obviously the rental assistance, utilities, by the way, that also include water bills. 100% taken care of going back many, many months. So that's why I'm here to highlight these things, to thank the mayor for extraordinary leadership. This state's not coming back, it's coming roaring back. 38% of America's jobs came out of the state of California last month. 99 IPOs year to date. The state of California not only outperforming many other large states in terms of health outcomes, but the contraction of our economy was more modest than states like Texas, more modest than states like Florida, as we advance our health framework. We're very proud of this recovery, and we're poised to, I think, experience a recovery the likes of which none of us could have conceived of a couple months ago, and it's because of you, Mom. Because where's Elmi? It's not just brother here, Julio, but Elmi and another member of the Tommy's family, and all the entrepreneurs out here. And I just want to close by thanking them because I know how difficult and challenging this year has been. I want to thank all the small businesses. Jot reminds me of this all the time. At the end of the day, you can't be pro-job and anti-business. And it's the businesses that put everything on the line, that risk everything, that create these magical moments and create the serendipity that are restaurants and bars and create a sense of place and neighborhood. And so for all those magical moments that you guys create every single day, those relationships, and I appreciated that point you made, that you develop, in so many ways you make life worth living. And so I don't want to overstate it, but I'm not going to understate the importance of restaurants, the importance of these type of establishments to the quality of life in remarkable places like this in San Francisco. And so thank you, Tommy's, and hundreds of thousands of other businesses that we hope will take advantage of this new program. With that, we're here to answer any questions.
Governor, a question about the state budget. The legislature has proposed $1 billion in ongoing funding for homelessness, flexible for local government. Do you have any concerns about that proposal? And then if I can ask a second question, you're here today to talk about small businesses. If I'm not mistaken, you're the first governor since James Rolfe to go directly from running a business to politics. Do you feel any kind of...
Rolfe, I appreciate it. I'm going to look that up.
Do you feel any kind of...
Didn't he design City Hall as well? So I know a thing or two about Rolfe. Yeah, that's about it. Only a thing or two.
But do you feel any personal responsibility, burden to, look out for businesses, small
Yeah,
businesses?
I mean, it's my life. It was my passion. I got out of college with a dream. Took pen to paper. I got 13 investors, $7,500. Didn't inherit it. It wasn't a family business, just an idea. And was able to cobble it together. It took me 18 months because I had some ABC issues. Literally, 18 months because I had ABC issues. I said, well, by the way, we got a great new director who's also a San Franciscan. So he He knows a lot about your community, your city, Madam Mayor. So no, I look, innovation, entrepreneurial spirit runs through our veins. It's what makes California so great, truly great. It's what the dream is built on, is all those risk takers. And so it's a big point of pride. It's personal for me. You know, I can't express to you how many extraordinary things have happened in my life because I had the privilege to be behind a counter serving other people. And so for me, it's, as I say, it's more of an emotional attachment, not an intellectual one. Number two, as it relates to the issue of homelessness, I'm very proud of the work we did the last few years to provide ongoing money to cities and counties under our HAP program. It used to be something called KEEP prior to that. We look forward to working with the legislature on this specific proposal. There'll be substantial money unquestionably coming under that program. The question is where we land. We have some differences, though I want to just express deep gratitude to the legislature on what they announced a few days ago. Very consistent with where we hope to be, and I think we are well on our way to getting a balanced budget on time that we'll all be very, very proud of. And the homeless investments will be historic and unprecedented. The question is exactly what the final package looks like. That's part of a negotiation that's ongoing as we speak.
Governor, do you see any of these changes becoming permanent? I mean, a lot of these.
When the mayor is here, let her answer.
Yes.
Let me just say, and the governor mentioned when he was mayor how difficult it was to get one of these. Well, when I was supervisor of District 5, I wanted to see these things all over our neighborhoods. It is exciting to be mayor right now and to see these parklets. I mean, this is the one bright light we've had throughout this pandemic, because you see people, you see families, you see smiles, you see faces, and people are out enjoying San Francisco like never before. Yes, I love going inside and indoors when I'm cold, but in fact, you know, usually I don't like to be really cold. And I've been sitting out on the parklets with my coat on, and I don't want to go indoors anymore almost, because the feeling of being outside and seeing people has been really amazing. And I don't know about you, but I do like to people watch. I don't know who likes to do that anymore, but my grandmother would sit in the window, and I sit in the window, and we people watch and talk about things. And so I just feel like it's bringing life to the city like never before. So yes, as far as I'm concerned, they're here to stay. I've made it clear as my legislation works its way through the Board of Supervisors that if they don't want to support it and they want to water it down, I will take my legislation to the voters, because I think these are very popular additions.
I'm so happy to hear this, Mayor. This is my kind of
This
talk.
is fighting words.
But I'm honestly, this is great news.
Yeah,
this is good to hear.
it's great news, but also, you know, just making sure this is something that's really popular, it's supported, and it supports our businesses. We keep talking about all this support for small businesses, but then we add bureaucracy and layers and money and if you want to start a business back in the day, a long, long time ago when he was starting his business out, many years ago, as a youngster in this city, it was not as difficult as it is now. Yes, ABC has always been difficult, but just in general, you know, most people can start a business with a little bit of money and make a life for themselves. And now, you know, you have to pay $250,000 for an ABC license. You have to pay the city $250,000 to turn your water on. I mean, it's unbelievable how much money it costs to start a business. So I know I went off on a tangent, but I'm looking forward to breaking down bureaucracy, making it easier for small businesses, and getting continued support from the governor to help support our small businesses. It's been absolutely amazing to have someone who comes from small business management and oversight to be here and to understand the challenges that exist and to make the investments.
Well, I appreciate all that. All I can say is eat your heart out, Paris, San Francisco. By the way, just FYI, just another thing I want to promote. We've waived the franchise tax board fee for starting businesses in the state of California. It's another reminder of some of the incentives that we put into place that need to be highlighted.
I might start a small business now. Governor, Cal OSHA Standards Board today is considering rules that would require employees to wear a mask at workplaces unless everyone is vaccinated. So this is stricter than the CDC guidelines that the state is following. should there be a different standard for workplaces? And if this passes, would you consider issuing an incentive program?
No, they're meeting today, OSHA, and so we'll see where they land on the rulemaking before I make any determination of next steps. But look, the workplaces they're protecting, larger meatpacking facilities, larger industrial facilities, have different set of challenges and criteria, and so OSHA always mindful of that, and I'll be mindful of that in terms of making any subsequent decisions on whether that needs to be adjusted or corrected. But they did delay the decision. They got a lot of feedback in the last few weeks. We'll see where they land today, and I'll have more to say after I read the final determination.
Governor, you mentioned that there are people who might not know about the vaccine incentive program. What is the state doing to reach out to, say, underserved communities?
Well, we're doing it. It's been 1 week. We've been doing press conferences. We've been up and down the state working with ethnic media, community-based organizations. We've been doing door-knocking campaigns. We have something called GeoTV. I was just part of it a couple days ago. Get out the vaccination, literally boots on the ground, promoting this. I personally have been handing out cards to individuals. I was down in Chinatown in LA doing exactly that to promote this. So we've got to highlight this. And again, just started a week ago. We had the Memorial Day weekend, so we knew there'd be a significant decline over Memorial Day weekend. And that was the case. Numbers a little better, 172,000 yesterday than the prior day. But we're seeing what that looks like in the wash of the weekend. The president highlighting things is helpful. I think more important will be tomorrow as we highlight the cash grants when people actually receive $50,000 and 15 people will, only if you've been vaccinated. And by the way, it's all people that have been previously vaccinated are eligible as well. But those that haven't yet get vaccinated, they can be in that raffle. They can also get in next week's raffle and have the opportunity to get $1.5 million on June 15th. And so I think this will build up. But again, for us, it's about just finishing the job. And the hardest part, 10% between 30 and 40%, that's easy. Between 70 and 75, 80% of adults, that's going to be hard. And that's the space we're in, particularly with adults. And we're going to have a lot of work to do in the next few weeks to get where we want to be.
So, Governor, in plain old simple television news soundbite ease, what are you doing here today symbolically? What are you saying?
Not symbolically, substantively extending the opportunity for restaurants to operate as they have by allowing takeout not just of food, but takeout of cocktails, to extend that and to allow that at least through January 1st next year. We're also looking to allow the flexibility for mayors all across the state to allow these parklets to become permanent in cities large and small, providing the flexibility in terms of the state rules and regulations, mindful of local rules and regulations.
So you're saying not every city is like San Francisco in terms of these?
Not every city. There's no city like San Francisco. Period. Full stop. As it goes, the issue of parklets, this is taken off everywhere. I haven't been to any city, and I've been every part of the state. Every part of the state has been moving in this direction enthusiastically. Central Valley, not just the coasts. I just noted Long Beach, San Diego, LA. You're seeing these all over, and it's really revitalizing communities and neighborhoods. And as the mayor said, it's just about re-engaging people after a year where we've been behind our doors and been behind our masks and just reconnecting. So it has a profound impact, not just economically and health, but also in terms of spirit and pride.
Should getting these things legal across the state, should it be so bureaucratic? You make it sound like it's almost difficult, like you have to do persuading.
Well, that's what we're not persuading. We're trying to make it less bureaucratic. The announcement here today, by definition, is removing roadblocks and bureaucracy from the state's perspective. I can't account to local decisions, local planning, local ordinances. I'm mindful as a former mayor to respect that. But as it relates to the state's role, we're getting out of the way.
Got time for about 2 minutes. Governor, what have businesses been telling you? Because as we talk about OSHA and the workplace rules that are perhaps going to be finalized today, have business owners expressed any concern to you whether they're going to be able to track the vaccination of their employees, whether their employees and the restaurant employees will have to wear masks on June 15th? What kind of discussions have you had?
Almost daily discussions. And John, and then you've got someone representing one of those vibrant industries in the largest state, the world's largest democracy, and he's been at this for decades. John, maybe you can answer that. more specifically.
Yeah, I mean, certainly Cal OSHA, their action today will play a huge role in how restaurants, move forward. But certainly, our expectation is that our employees need to feel comfortable and safe in the their work environment. And certainly, we're seeing as consumers come back out to dine indoors and outdoors, we're still seeing that there is a reluctance on behalf of many customers, some who have not been vaccinated yet, and we're hoping to see everybody get vaccinated. But the face masks at this point, in many respects, go towards a lot of consumer confidence that they're in restaurants. It's important for us. Our top priority as an industry is the safety and well-being of our employees. And until we get to a critical mass, our expectation is that the face mask requirement will last perhaps longer than June 15th.
And I'll just remind everybody, on June 15th, the blueprint is removed. Businesses will not have the restrictions under these colored tiering. All outdoor activities will have no mask requirements. Large-scale indoor activities, north of 5,000, the massive scale will have some requirements around masks or vaccines and or testing. As it relates to the OSHA requirements, we'll see where that lands, and that will be a nuance in between.
Okay, last question here.
Governor, with schools coming back, reopening, big push to reopen, how are you anticipating handling potential outbreaks among students, especially under 12?
I think we've been.
The school's been open and we haven't had any major outbreaks. My goodness, we just need to get them open.
So the mayor and I share that same sentiment. It's we need our kids back in person, full-time instruction. Period. Full stop. On June 30th, that is the law in the state of California. Midnight, June 30th. Period. Full stop. It just didn't. With respect, I appreciate the stress and I appreciate the anxiety, but we haven't seen major outbreaks. We've had vast majority of schools have the option to be in person. Many were operating in the midst of the last surge in December and January without significant outbreaks, and so I have all the confidence in the world, our capacity to deliver on that and keep our kids safe, keep our paraprofessionals safe, not just our teachers.
Governor,
Thank you, everybody.
on the way to the how are you going to do that tomorrow? Are you going to do that tomorrow? And just answering critics like the Republicans out there who are saying that this is legalized bribery and such.
Well, I mean, I imagine they're critical of other Republicans as well on that basis. This has been. In fact, we had an opportunity the other day to have a governor's call with the White House, and hearing governors, bipartisan, across the spectrum, sharing best practices on giveaways and incentives, handing out guns, hunting licenses. I mean, across the spectrum. I mean, everybody's doing this in some way, shape, or form. Most states are doing it in some way, shape, or form. So I don't think what we're offering is novel. It's just at a scale that's larger than any other state by definition. The size and scale of our state is such that we should be doing more. And again, it's all about iteration. It's about best practices, learning from each other. Some things will work, some things will fall short of expectations, but these are federal dollars primarily, and these dollars actually were made available with language that came from the Biden administration to encourage states like ours to move in this direction. And so we want to take advantage of that and see how far this takes us. Tomorrow will be interesting, see how it goes. We're, by the way, sensitive. I got a couple friends of mine on my text or email and said, what about my privacy? I don't want to be in the lottery. I said, well, you don't have to. You could say no, but your privacy is protected, and I just want to remind folks that we're not making public the names. She, of course, says, yeah, the mayor's like, oh, well, I'll take their things. but we want folks to know this. We're not going to announce anybody's names without their permission. Is the point that I'm making, because some people are a little nervous about being made public tomorrow. They won't be. But we encourage, like, again, if you don't get vaccinated, you can't participate. So anyone's been on the fence, this is the moment to do it. Get it done today. Tomorrow you get in next week, on June 15th, $15 million will be handed out. $15 million And you never know, Mayor Breed may be one of the beneficiaries.
All right,
Thank you, everybody.
Hey, Governor.
I need to read this. I don't have that.
Standard order here.
What are you doing?